Hello, I'm Brian Dietsch. I'm the school counselor at Grantwood Elementary, and this section of the website is about social emotional learning, behavior, and mental health, and we'll be offering some resources and information to help in those areas. Just to kind of give you a little bit of an overview of what this will look like, there'll be home learning strategies, behavior management strategies for home, promoting social emotional learning at home, and then some mental health resources as well. All of these kind of interrelate, so hopefully this will be very helpful. I'm going to take us to our summer learning site. Computer's a little slow this morning. So once this opens up, this will be the what the learning site will look like in its entirety, and then I will show you how to get to the specific social emotional learning behavior mental health section. So once you get to this spot, you can go over to the left, and this will give a pull down menu that will give you some options of places to go. So you can go in science, health, and social studies to get to it. You can also just scroll down here and get to it from this point right here. So once you open that up, it will look like this. And if you scroll down a bit, this is the social emotional behavior and mental health section. So this first one is called home learning and behavior. It should have a little icon up in the corner just like this one that will let you pull it out. We're trying to figure out what the problem is there, but in the meantime I will just take you up here and show you what it looks like. Just a second here. There we go. So this will just give you some parenting tips for when you're having some behavior issues at home. This is a pretty stressful time for everyone. So if you're seeing that there's some behavior going on that you really don't want to see, rather than addressing the behavior directly, the first thing you could do is just redirect, try to get their attention onto something else. You can also kind of watch for when they're getting a little antsy about things, and maybe that's a good time to take a break, do something else. Making sure that when there are behaviors that we do put consequences in place and make sure that there are consequences that relate to the behavior and consequences that you can actually follow through on. This one up here is really important. Take a pause. This is something that I really try to do when I'm managing behavior in the school setting. Sometimes you just got to give yourself that 10-second pause so that you're making good decisions with behavior management. So that's that. This next one here is Scott County Kids and Mental Health. Again, if you go here, hit that little pop-out button. This is just a PDF file of a paper copy that is available as well. And it just gives you all sorts of community resources for mental health for kids and families. This is something that you could also download and look at more thoroughly on your own time rather than having to link to the website as well. This next one is called Anxiety in Children. A lot of behavior issues could be linked to anxiety. It can look different for a lot of different kids. Sometimes defiance could actually be rooted in anxiety. Physical aggression could be rooted in anxiety. So it's important to kind of have a good idea of what that looks like. This is really good in that it talks about what's the difference between having some periodic issues with anxiety and actually having a full-blown anxiety disorder. So that kind of walks you through that. And then All these areas with the yellow font will talk about different types of anxiety disorders and give you a background on that. This next section talks about what are the approved treatments for anxiety disorders. There's a good medication warning here because medication is different for kids than for adults. This section right here is really good where it takes you to the anxiety disorder website, and it actually gives you a list of specialists that work with anxiety disorders. This is probably my favorite spot in the whole section where it talks about questions to ask when you're looking for a provider for your child with anxiety, and just some really important questions, because I think a lot of times what happens is we take kids for mental health treatment and then we don't see any results and we don't know what to do then. And sometimes we just didn't take them to the right place in the first place. And so this kind of gives you some questions to ask to make sure that you're getting your child the help that they need in the appropriate way. And then here's just some other information. So this is just a really good fact sheet on anxiety generally. And then this last one is called Parent Resources. I already have it open right here. This first one under Parent Resources is Social Emotional Learning in an Unplanned Homeschool Setting. And it just gives you a lot of great ideas on setting expectations, teaching social emotional learning. And if we teach that social emotional learning, there'll be less necessity to be doing consequences and things like that. Motivating students, I'm sure it's hard for a lot of students to get to work and get their work done in this home setting. This next one is Building Positive Conditions for Learning at Home, Strategies and Resources. And this just, again, gives you a lot of different ways to help to manage that learning at home. So that would be worth taking a good look at. This next one is Talking to Kids About the Coronavirus Crisis. I think frequently we overshare with kids. One of the things out of this document that I think is really important is making sure that we're answering kids' questions, but that we're not giving them more information than they need or they want, because that could obviously lead to some anxiety. And then we've got the Parent Toolkit, and this just has a lot of resources about a lot of different things. My favorite being the Supporting Social Emotional Development in Kids aged 5 to 8. It's got a lot of great stuff in there. And then this last one is Simple Activities for Children and Adolescents. And I like that it says activities for children and adolescents with no screen time. I think that's really important. Kids get a lot of screen time with video games, with watching TV and movies, with looking things up on the computer, with doing their schoolwork. They get plenty of screen time. So we have to give them some opportunities for things to do with no screen time. Think about all the things you used to do as a kid that didn't involve screen time. And a lot of that can lead to some social emotional learning that just happens naturally, that we don't have to actually script or plan for. So there's a lot of different ideas for things to do with kids right now when we're kind of stuck in our homes or stuck in our yards, and just things to do as a family to keep kids busy. So again, we've got our summer learning website. We've got this specific social, emotional, behavior, and mental health section. If you have any questions about any of these resources or anything else related to social, emotional learning, please reach out to me and I'd be happy to help. Again, my name is Brian Dietsch. I'm the school counselor at Grantwood Elementary. Thanks for listening.